Well, we have Ron DeSantis with us today, and Ron's an independent rep for the Interchange brokerage company. Ron, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jeff, my pleasure. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Great.
Hey, Ron, how did you come about finding IBC, and what attracted you to, to the service?
Okay. I actually, I can't remember the exact person that's hooked me into it, but what we actually did is I work and operate a financial group. We're actually an equipment financing company. And with a period that has slowed down in that area, I was looking for kind of an additional service to be able to sell on the financial side. My background is basically in sales, but started this company about 5 years ago, and found out about IBC and really didn't know anything about credit card processing or how it worked and what role it had in the company, but took it to a potential client that became a client, and have been kind of up and running since.
Okay, all right. Now, I know that you've probably selected a kind of a case example of a client that you've helped.
Right.
You kind of talk about the ins and the outs. Can you
Okay.
categorize which retail markets it's in of the one that we go after?
Okay. I really have worked in two areas, one in the hotel groups, but also with retail. And I kind of stumbled into this, and then I knew somebody that worked for a large retailer in the New York area. Actually, they're all up and down the East Coast. And with that contact, kind of went in and introduced the rate lock program to them, and took them on as a client, and we've been pretty successful with them, over the past 6 months or so.
Okay. So now you're speaking to a multi-location.
Yeah, absolutely. All the accounts that I work on are multi-location. I try to get multi-location and multi-state. The real huge big box just don't work for us, but if I find somebody that has anywhere between 3 and 100 locations, I kind of target them and work those accounts.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good insight to
that most of what market. I think one of the real important things that somebody new to the business has to look at is that there's really two approaches, and that's one, the shotgun method where you get 100 different names of people and you're calling on them, and the other is a little bit more targeted with some research, and that's really what I try to do, and I try to get some information about the company beforehand, how many locations they have, what kind of business they're in, before I, start soliciting them, and I think that's been a little bit more effective.
Oh, that's a good point for you now, because I know you have been very, very successful in this. What type of tools are you currently using to do that type of qualification?
We just do internet searches, and it sounds really funny, but you could drive into a strip mall when you go shopping with your wife and see the name of a store that you haven't seen before, and you write it down, and you go back and you search it on the internet, and you find out that they're headquartered in California and they have 15 stores, and you kind of work different databases to try to find. I always look for the controller of the location of the company, the corporate controller, and I try to work that way. And if worse comes to worse, you dial directly into the corporate headquarters and ask for the information.
There you go. Now, when dealing with the CFOs and controllers out there, Ron, what have you found to be a major objection that you hear before they understand who you really are?
Well, I think understanding who we really are is the number one objection. Separating us from the thousands of people that call them about credit card processing. There's no question. That's the biggest thing you have to overcome. But I think, the idea of selling to a controller, the other obstacle is you've got to find what is important to him. And, typically in an organization, a controller is not necessarily a principal of a company. When you walk into a restaurant or you walk into a small retailer and he's the business owner or she's the business owner, her hot button is, can I save money for myself? The controller, the CFO, he's worried about how the organization works, how your process is going to affect his organization. Is it going to take time from him? Is it something that's going to affect the systems he has in place? And those are all the things that you have to be very careful about. And so it's just a different perspective from the business owner to the, if you want to call him employee, the controller, the CFO, or whatever.
Interesting, interesting. Now, we both know that when we approach someone and we do our analytics to see if they're getting treated fairly or unfairly, that a large majority of the time there's money on the table that we can bring back to them proportionally, right. Correct?
Yes.
Now, when that happens, what do you find that when there's money actually on the table, when we provide evidence of this, how difficult have you found it with these controllers to take them to the next step, which is our trial agreement?
You know, I think the challenges of working with bigger companies is that the sales process takes longer. And, you know, you may get the presentation, you may get the opportunity to do that kind of analysis for them, and you may go back and say, hey, I think we could save you between X amount of dollars and Y amount of dollars. But it isn't maybe something that's so pressing to them that they're going to make that decision in 5 minutes. A business owner may say, hey, you could save me X amount of dollars, let's do it. That was the case that I had with the first retailer that I did. They basically told me, if you could save us money, we're going to do this right away. So they sold themselves. All I had to do was show them that we had a savings. But I think that's another challenge when you talk to some of the bigger retailers is staying with it and understanding that just because you show them the savings, you could show a big organization a $250,000 savings, and that's really not a huge number for them. I mean, it makes sense for them to do it and everything, but it doesn't blow them away, and it's not a game changer. And you have to kind of work that along in the organization so that you know that you keep it in front of them, so you know that you want to do that and they want to do it. So I found that sometimes the sales cycle on the bigger accounts is a little bit longer, or is a lot longer than when you walk into a small retailer or a restaurant or a car dealer or something like that.
Yep, well, pretty much true with any type of major account selling. It's going like a sales cycle, but at least we do have a wide girth to decide to target, and depending on what your comfort zone is.
Right.
Now, let's talk, before we wrap this up, you mentioned the retail, multi-location, New York-based down the East Coast. Right. What type of, when it was cooked and out of the oven,
right,
what type of cost recovery opportunity are they seeing right now?
Okay, great. When I run their numbers, and we look at them over the last 6 months, they run, and it's actually 2 different stores that work out of this group. They run sales that go between, I'd say, 22 million to 40 million a month in a good month. The savings to them is anywhere between 30,000 and maybe 60,000 per month. So you're talking about probably in the course of a year, you're probably talking about $500,000 a year return bottom line to their company.
Well, that sounds pretty significant to me, at least from where I'm sitting right now.
It absolutely is. For them, it's 7-8% savings. And on a large account, you're not going to have the 20% savings. I think you're going to be, if you're saving somebody 5 to 7%, it's pretty significant. And it also feeds back to what we talked about with the bigger organizations, that you want to optimize their system. You want to make sure that that system is running as efficiently as possible. And that was another concern of theirs. So, we've been very successful, and they're very happy with the return that they have.
Okay. Well, that's significant. Now, are you comfortable with giving some of a ballpark of what you were making on that account over the term, or just
Yeah.
That's up to you.
I think that in an average month we'll probably make $10,000 to $12,000 a month. In Christmas season is a big time of the year. You're probably in the 14, 15 range, and you may have some of the months that are a little slower, and you may be in the 7, 8 range. But I'd say 10 to 12,000 a month for that account.
And what they shake your hand for, Ron, was it 24 or 36 months?
That was a 24-month.
Great, super. Well, I sure appreciate you using your hourly rate because I know it's hefty, and sharing 10 minutes with us here to hopefully help other people in their career paths also. So thanks.
Yeah, again. I hope I can, Jeff. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.